This channel is a big fan of writer intent, but for this analysis, especially when it comes to speed or math quotes in this show, I'm going to take the feats more than the statements because
Supergirl and I travel around the globe in opposite directions at just over Mach 7, at just over Mach 7, at just over Mach 7, at just over Mach 7.
yeah, somebody can't do math. I'm pretty sure this is faster than Mach 7, guys. Yeah, the inconsistencies get on my nerves too, guys. They swear this is only Mach 7. Yeah, right. Come on now. Like, him being not light speed, or the statement saying he's not the speed of light don't make sense. When he's able to run from the United States to China and back before the prison camera can get back in its spot is an extremely fast feat. But yet it's somehow stated he can't go the speed of light, stated.
Ultraviolet light travels at 186,000 miles per second, which is 80 times your top speed.
Yet the Flash can travel from the United States all the way to China in like literally less than 5 seconds. Man, come on now. He is not 80 times less than the speed of light. But he can zip around the world like this in a second. Come on now. Like 80 times less than the speed of light? No. Like just let's all agree not to take the statements too seriously. You know, some of them, the statements we can take seriously, but not all of them. They're obviously not doing the math of these feats. You know, I guess the only real excuse you can say is the reason why he couldn't outrun Ultraviolet's light speed attack is because he was injured, I guess, stated here.
Barry, no, you're still recovering.
I'll be fine.
So maybe the excuse could be that he wasn't at full power or full speed or something. Who knows? I'll get back to this stuff a little later in the video though, you know. Let's analyze Barry Allen of the CW, shall we, guys? I'll let him intro himself.
My name is Barry Allen, and I am the fastest man alive. I fight crime and find other metahumans like me. I am the Flash.
When it comes to determining how strong a Flash character is, everything is pretty much related to his speed. Like, he's a speedster type character. Like, when it comes to him, he's ridiculously strong because of this higher dimensional energy known as the Speed Force. Yeah, Speed Force, like, can make avatars of himself to make himself look like Barry's mother. Yeah. Don't ask, but the CW, or one could say the Arrowverse, has comics or books within the same universe to add more lore into the mythos. Yeah, these books be adding extra stuff. Like, yeah, in books like this, they talk about how the Speed Force is a 10th dimensional construct and stated a whole bunch of times in the show to be infinite, like an infinite in a way we can't even describe, really, honestly.
The Speed Force is eternity itself, an endless void of time and energy.
Where they get their power source from, of course. That doesn't mean they're actually equal to that. Like, that's just their power source, just to give you an idea of what their power source is. The Speed Force is a place that's pretty much eternity itself, and there's been times where Barry was in the Speed Force. There was this episode where the Speed Force storm was happening, and it was threatening the planet. Super hyper smart Brainiac type characters pretty much confirm if they was to get complete access to the Speed Force, they would become like basically an actual omniscient, nigh omniscient god, basically.
Connection to the Speed Force. Access to all of time, past, present, future. True knowledge.
You're the actual all-encompassing, immeasurably interstellar, mind-bendingly cosmorific.
I am the Speed Force. I'm the Speed Force.
I mean, matter of fact, the Speed Force is such a cosmic structure. It knows the past, the present, it's encompassing all of that, even the future, all at once. It's even stated similar stuff.
Barry, what you're seeing is the Speed Force. Your past, your present, your future, all at once.
Thanks to the Flash being connected to the Speed Force and getting a stronger connection, getting stronger throughout the series. Oh, by the way, I forgot to tell you. Although he's extremely inconsistent, when you dissect him deeply, like in this video, you're going to see he's actually pretty strong when we dissect him. But I guess some of that inconsistency could have something to do with through each season, he gets stronger or faster as the series goes by. Like, I know these are just costumes, but you can kind of get an idea of his evolution. Each costume, each newer costume through each season, he gets stronger and faster, better connection with the Speed Force throughout. That can partly be due to his inconsistency, him learning how to fight better, things like that, to learn the Speed Force better, you know. Like, a quick example of the clear progress he's made throughout the series is like, you know how in the first season, like, you know how in season 1, Reverse Flash and him are basically rivals, basically. During these days, he wasn't fast enough to compete with him, and it was clearly shown, like, it was even stated.
Not fast enough, Flash.
Like, it was clear. Like, this is even at the end of the first season. Just the sheer gap in speed was so bad. Barry was basically helpless, honestly. Like, Barry's made drastic improvements. We actually see him actually fast enough to keep up with him, to where they're actually a match for each other. At this point, he actually got the advantage over him. He actually could have killed him, but you know, he got morals, of course. He ain't gonna kill him. Talk about character development to where even speedsters like Reverse Flash are frozen to him, basically. Like, this is a good example of his progress on how he couldn't do nothing with Zoom. It was even so bad to where he even got his back broken. And when you see later on in that same season, he actually gives Zoom the business with hands to where he had Zoom at his mercy. Like, yeah. I mean, there was that one time when Spectre, he's basically a multiversal entity. He unlocked his potential, whatever this means.
I've unlocked your potential, Barry. Use this power with caution.
The point is that he's got improved over each season, you know. And he only gets faster even from there on. I shouldn't have to mention that the newer seasons, thanks to the Speed Force and the other universal forces of the multiverse teaming up, he technically got a speed boost then too. They even say it when it comes to his speed, his base speed.
With you all here, I feel...
Faster? You are. With all of us together, you'll be faster than you ever imagined, Barry.
There's even parts in the series where multiple different forces other than the Speed Force, like the Strength Force, Steel Force, and all that good stuff would fuse their power with him to where he would basically become a being that would solo all your favorite characters for a little bit. Like, it's like a temporary power-up type of thing we see him get. It would be moments like this to where you would see him do crazy stuff like support a lot of physical weight like this, for example, super strength. But yeah, I'm not going to be focusing on that kind of stuff, like temporary powers. Majority of the video is going to be him with the Speed Force. That's his main ability anyway, without counting temporary power-ups. You know, he can snap his fingers and do stuff, crazy stuff, God stuff. But yeah, I'm going to be focused on the Speed Force mostly. Even though a big chunk of why he's strong is his speed, he has other abilities connected to this crazy Speed Force, which I've talked about a bit. He's very versatile despite him being a speedster. I mean, thanks to the Speed Force being bigger than space and time and bigger than universes, we've seen him, you know, explore the multiverse a bit, meet other versions of Flash, like the movie Flash, for example, meeting other versions of himself. He actually learned how to throw lightning, by the way, thanks to Jay Garrett in the season 2. I mean, he could even do his own version of the Thunderclap, lightning bolt. In this occasion, this is not Barry, but this is like his daughter. They can project lightning in their hands to pretty much restart beings' hearts. I'll be honest, there's moments in the show where I forget, is this guy Black Lightning? Because the way the lightning be projecting off him sometimes just looks crazy at times. He even gets so good with his lightning or energy or lightning projection. He was able to do like an omnidirectional blast in like all directions in this occasion, looking like a super Speed Force deity here. Yeah, there's like occasions where he absorbs electricity from outside sources. Super speed healing. He healed from all that mess in 3 hours. Something that shouldn't be possible. He technically got his back broke. It was an injury where a normal person would have been paralyzed. This was a lifelong injury. And, you know, of course, this didn't last the whole series. So, of course, yeah, he healed faster. He can use his super speed in his arms to make his own vortexes or tornadoes. He can make vortexes by spinning his arms around really fast to blow stuff out. One could say wind manipulation by just moving his hands real fast. Even takes it a bit further by rotating his arms so fast here to basically, one could say, fly by propelling himself in the air like this. I mean, I guess he can technically fly like in this occasion. He uses lightning, which I already said he can do, and literally stand on his lightning to kind of fly in the air. Like, yeah. That's kind of cool. Not just his hands, he can move ridiculously fast. He can move his whole body in multiple spots at the same time to where it looks like it's clones of himself, but it's not. It's really just a speed mirage. Like in this occasion, it looks like he made like a speed clone, but it's really like a speed mirage moving in two places so fast to where it looks like it's two of him when it's really not. The crazy part is that he can make like these fake versions of himself speed mirages, but no, it's crazier. He can make actual clones, not just like fake versions of himself, but actual physical speed clones of himself, like what they call them, time remnants. This is kind of broken, guys. Like, this is something we definitely need to see him do more because it essentially allows him to be in two places at once. This kind of stuff is confusing, but from my understanding, it seems, if I'm understanding this correctly, the Flash moves forward or backward in time to grab a version of himself right here, bring it to the present. Now there's two hims. Now this timeline that he was originally a part in doesn't exist because history basically changed, and there's like a new timeline, and this timeline doesn't exist because the time remnant is in this one, and they usually end up dying, so then there's only one. Like, yeah, this gets confusing. This happened where he actually needed to do this and be in two places at once.
You ran back in time and made a copy of yourself?
Basically.
Called a time remnant.
I ran back in time moments before I left. It's the only way I could be in two places at once.
The time remnant, it's still you.
Yeah.
He died.
He was willing to sacrifice himself for all of us.
He actually can vibrate his molecules to basically go intangible, to go through walls. Crazy part is he can phase his body to basically be untouchable. One could say this was like a team effort here, like they're phasing the plane vibrating ridiculously fast and make ridiculously large objects like planes go intangible too. When he was fighting Supergirl that was mind control, he literally phased to where she couldn't hit him. We've seen him actually phase and run to save somebody out of this in an instant. Like in this occasion with the Thinker, when he was trying to attack Barry, all he had to do is do his phasing to go intangible so he can hit himself with his own attack. Like, he was literally invisible, guys. And they literally explain what happened right afterwards.
You vibrated faster than the eye can process.
Like, yeah, I know he has speed, but he can do some crazy stuff when you achieve crazy speed. Like, imagine being so fast you can literally run, open a dimensional portal, and go to another universe. Like, there was points where he needed, like, speed devices to make him faster. But yeah, he's way faster than this now. He actually ran fast enough and ran to another universe, literally. This is when Supergirl and Flash's universes were separate. They're in the same universe after the big crisis event, you know. This was back in the earlier days of CW. He can do crazy stuff like go to different points in time, running forward in the future or back in the past, see visions of stuff that's happening throughout the multiverse, different versions of the same characters.
Nora, if you try to run back in time again, I will feel it in the Speed Force. I'll know.
Like, what is that, some cosmic awareness type stuff? Since the Speed Force is everywhere, it's omnipresent. He being connected to the Speed Force to such a degree, he can do special stuff like can tell if you enter the Speed Force to time travel and stuff. Like, in this particular occasion, he can literally make them enter, like, speed mode with him.
So when I bring you into Flash time, I'm actually extending my Speed Force aura to you. Share my speed.
Like, there was, like, a lot of episodes with Garrick, of course. In these occasions, they would lend each other speed, so it's proven he can speed still. Even statements like,
You trail behind me, siphon off some of my speed, combine it with your own, and when you have enough...
When you get good enough with the Speed Force, apparently you can make your own Speed Force lightsaber sword out of Speed Force lightning. Okay. Call him Captain America, he can make, like, lightning shields. Yeah, seriously, he was doing some Captain America type stuff. Don't ask. We've seen him make lightning style constructs. Are you serious? What is he, a Green Lantern now? Making ropes out of lightning? Barry even made a spear, out of lightning. I mean, since speed is everything in this universe, he's strong. He can punch hard because of his speed. I mean, the Flash literally says it himself.
Any material, if struck at a high enough velocity, can be compromised.
If you impact it at just the right angle, at just the right speed, you could do some serious damage.
You want Barry to hit something at 800 miles an hour. That's faster than the speed of sound.
See, this is kind of crucial because this is similar to the comics we're used to, like the DC Comics post-crisis era, pre-crisis, like how fast they are. That's heavily a big factor on how hard they can hit. Depending on how fast he is, that actually depends on how hard he can hit. The two are linked. So when I bring up his speed in this video a lot throughout this video, you're going to know, just know the faster he is, the harder his punches get. He can do supersonic punches or just punches in general to increase his power of his punches by going at crazy speeds. This is a perfect occasion of that. How he can hit hard because of his speed. His punching power is crazy. His fighting speed and just movement and straight line speed is similar to each other. That's why when people come up to him, they look like they're frozen. Because he's so many times faster than them. Like, especially in later seasons. Like, imagine him hitting you moving at these kind of speeds. That fist has to hurt. And the crazy part about this speed, he's actually a better fighter than you expect. But you got times throughout the series where he does sparring or punching bags and such like that. He doesn't even need a running start to punch fast. Like, you see in occasions like this and what he did to the punching bag to, like, amp his punches up with crazy speed. Or several occasions of him just using his combat speed to punch hard. You got occasions like this that prove his speed is weight. Look how he hits people, they just go flying. Just look how far these people go when he punches them. That's speed and weight put together. Yeah, speed is definitely weight. Yeah, there's moments, plenty of moments in the series where he doesn't have his powers. You can kind of see his straight up hands. There was a literal supervillain that nullified superpowers, guys, because of this bull crap. To where he literally doesn't have super speed. This is where we kind of get to see them actually use hands, Flash included. Like, if you're a grown man, I'm pretty sure Caitlin isn't that heavy, but yes, he be carrying her at crazy speeds though, guys. One could argue that his lightning projection, whatever he might lack in his muscle strength, he can actually use his lightning as shields and stuff, but also use his lightning to support the weight of a car with the blast power of his lightning, keeping the weight off of him. So one could say he can kind of lift a lot of weight with his lightning blasting out because it can produce a lot of force of energy like this, tossing a car. Let's analyze his power and speed. You know how his combat speed and fighting speed is similar. He was able to catch a bullet while it was in the process of drilling through his neck in this occasion. Even if off guard, you can't necessarily shoot him. This is like him at his worst, weakest. Catches one here, catches like 3, and is able to walk them down with running speed. Yeah. This is a consistent theme. Nothing new. There's even times when he catches them and points the bullet back at them the opposite direction. Yeah, they tried to catch him off guard here. Catches, makes them smack themselves that quick. This is a clear example of combat speed, like him being able to move his hands, duck and dodge at that kind of speed. He's supposed to be at his slowest here, and he was still able to save all these people from a train before it got finished derailing because of speed. As you can see, this can give you an idea of his speed on how the lightning itself was looking slow. Lightning is something that actually has an actual speed in real life, and he was able to outrun it in raw speed. So as a bare minimum, even in season 1, he can technically run over 200,000 miles per hour. And keep in mind, he made the lightning look extremely slow here, guys, while Joe's frozen. And if we assume Barry's lightning is as fast as natural lightning, it's literal scenes like this that prove he can outrun his own lightning to hit himself with his own lightning. I mean, even in later seasons, you see him do similar stuff when it comes to speed. Lightning looks slow to his speed, and he can actually outrun it. Like, you see how everything's slowed down. You got occasions like this where he moves and lightning is literally standing still to add more fuel to the fire. We've seen him make electricity look like it's frozen with his raw speed in the first season. He even has feats that make this look like a joke when it comes to how fast he is. He ran this man all the way from the United States to China at an absurd speed. They even said in the show, China. And he did this before the camera in the jail could get back on the cell it was rotating in. Yeah. Shout out to this YouTuber in particular, Comics vs. the World. He calculated the speed of him running to China and back was at least a 54 million miles per hour type feat in just raw point A to point B travel running speed. Mach 71,000 or 12 times slower than the speed of light itself. Yeah, so they try to say he's 80 times slower than the speed of light. That seems like BS to me. There was even this episode where there was like an actual nuke going off and the nuke was in slow motion to his speed. And then this whole episode was dubbed Flash Time. Like, it was literally nuclear detonation. Like, it was hopeless. Like, she literally pressed a button and everything. Like, he was moving so fast, time almost seemed like it was standing completely still. I could definitely see somebody arguing that he can move light speed based on this episode. Because even the bomb itself looked like it was frozen for a bit, but it wasn't completely frozen. It just looked like it was.
Oh, it's a nuclear bomb. And his core's already gone critical. The second we slow down, it's over.
We just have to keep moving until we figure out a way to stop it.
Even though Jay Garrick had a slow moment in this episode, I cannot believe that he said a nuke could destroy the entirety of the Speed Force. Yeah, just ignore Jay. He had a slow moment.
We send the bomb into the Speed Force. Let it detonate in there.
Flash, if you do that, we may lose the Speed Force forever. An explosion of that size could destroy it completely.
Do you think this confirms he can run 99% the speed of light? But if you still have your doubts about him being light speed with on-screen feats and not writer statements, I think right here he's dang near close to light speed or surpasses somewhere in that ballpark when it comes to stuff like this. I mean, they're zipping across the world ridiculously fast. Not to mention, it's not totally impossible to believe that there can be a character in this universe that can go faster than the speed of light. Apparently, in this universe's physics, going beyond light speed is actually possible, apparently, even though we know we can't do that in real life.
Metahumans, men and women, ability to soar above buildings, to run faster than the speed of light.
I mean, you got this episode where he literally apparently went into a black hole, apparently, and survived.
The guy is running in and out of a black hole.
Seriously, guys, check out his channel. He does cool calculations. He pretty much confirms that CW Flash, when we're not listening to the writers say crazy quotes about their speed, he calculated in this video that he can indeed go faster than the speed of light in his video, so check it out. I'm talking about massively faster, guys, because he was able to enter a breach that closed in like a couple picoseconds or 3 picoseconds. Guys, we're getting into some madness type stuff. A picosecond is 1/trillionth of a second. The way a breach closes...
A breach closes in 3 picoseconds.
Based on his calculations, you watch the video to see all his calculations, Barry ran Mach 1 billion. This officially gives him speeds that's way faster than the speed of light. I'm talking about speeds over 2,000 times the speed of light. And we actually see Barry enter a breach. There's even other calcs that Comics vs. the World did that he can run over Mach 100 billion. This same YouTuber calculated that he can not only run 2,000 times the speed of light, but sounded like some comic book type level speed from the, the comics from with the Flash in it, be able to move 100,000 times the speed of light and crap. You know how there's other forces other than Speed Force, Strength Force, Steel Force? This guy literally got frozen in time and he busted out of it, guys. Are you serious? Like, he does this to speedsters to where they can't even move. When this same being tried to do this to the Flash, it's moments like this that one could argue he might have achieved the quote-unquote, one could say, infinite speed. Because how do you even know what to do when everything about you is frozen in time itself? Like, make that make sense. Did he achieve infinite speed here, guys? At least in this particular situation, did he achieve infinite speed? What do you think about that? Similar to main continuity comics, the Steel Force is something that exists in the main continuity, and the CW adapted it into the live-action universe. Yeah, I know this is the live action version, but this can kind of give you some information about the Steel Force in this particular occasion. In the Rebirth comics, this is not a part of live action. I'm just showing this for reference, really, that it can stop beings in time, even higher dimensional beings in this particular situation, like this being known as Mxyzptlk. So if the CW's version of the Steel Force has similar powers to the comic one, it would be able to literally stop time itself. And here's an example of how it looks in the actual show. Like, everything literally is frozen. Like, the literal Speed Force itself this living embodiment of Speed Force makes himself look like Barry's mother, blasted, and Barry reacted to the Speed Force with his own lightning. So yeah, in this video so far, I've been talking about a lot of speed stuff. So with all this speed, it's obvious that he can pretty much punch hard because the show pretty much confirmed that how hard he can punch directly correlates to how hard he can hit. Not to mention that one could say he can generate electricity, one could say blast power that can help his attacks hit hard too. Well, there's even times we'll even see his fists have lightning around it too, so one could say they both go hand in hand, but his blast power and his punching power. So when it comes to how hard he can hit, just remember this, what they stated in the show itself.
Any material, if struck at a high enough velocity, can be compromised.
How fast he's going basically lets you know how hard he can hit. So when it comes to his punching power, not only can he punch you faster than sound, but he can easily blast through doors and one-shot punch out beings that are super dense steel. Honestly, this is how all his fights should go if you don't have super speed, just blitzing through all of them. He was in this meta-human prison that takes away people's powers. He was somehow able to use his powers and break out. You know, tornadoes can vary in size. Some tornadoes, if they get bad enough, they can devastate a building. This guy created a tornado. Flash had to run around in the opposite direction to create enough energy to break it. This kind of shows you the kinetic energy he can already produce, even on the first episode. Yeah, sure, this is a little wonky, but with enough kinetic energy buildup, one could argue he can hit harder than certain tornadoes, or one could say even punch down buildings or cause multiple buildings to collapse. This is something, of course, he wouldn't do. He's not a destructive type character. He wants to save people, not destroy people or kill people. So this is something he probably wouldn't do. But if he wanted to, he probably could with the energy he could produce, or punching power he could produce with his speed. Other super beings like Grodd, he can use his speed to punch him really hard to damage him. This other super gorilla like Solivar, somebody that's up there with Grodd, he can hit that hard. One punch style. Here we see him do a super speed punch to Grodd here, and he goes flying that far. That's a strong punch. When it comes to other powerful beings like King Shark, the Flash has gotten scuffles with, even in water. I guess water and lightning don't mix, so he blasted him to where King Shark got knocked out here. You got this occasion with King Shark. We actually seen Flash actually speed blitz King Shark with literally no difficulty, knocking him out really with ease. Super big creatures like this, for example, we've seen him speed blitz and give hands to, dancing all around him to show his punching power. There's just such thing as the Speed Force and Strength Force. This is an avatar of the Strength Force, for example. These are the type of beings that Barry has to compete against. Thanks to time travel shenanigans, we've actually seen him get the upper hand of a past version of himself, like a previous season version of himself. He can obviously beat him. Just with the raw energy they can produce, beings like Trajectory, other speedsters, like, yeah, he's fought a lot of different speedsters in the show, by the way. They're doing all this to this bridge, shaking it, even causing it collateral. This can give you an idea of what speedsters can do. Oh, it's not my opinion. These speedsters really can devastate bridges. This one speedster, he's stronger than, can do stuff like this.
Guys, this bridge is coming down.
This is a speedster with the same powers as him. This is an extremely low tier speedster of the show. If she can do this, we know the Flash could do this if he wanted to, the level of this bridge. So yeah, so with speed alone, he could definitely level thick bridges like this with his raw speed alone. The being that was able to destroy this bridge, Barry was able to overpower. Yeah. To where she was kind of sleepy. Now we got occasions against other speedster type characters where the Flash can hit hard to hit beings through thick concrete, like this, for example. Yes. Against Red Death, he proved to be able to hit beings through stuff like that. So yeah, that's really no surprise. He can hit that hard, just causing destruction to bridges if he wishes with his punches.
He's building up speed. He's going to use a sonic punch to destroy it.
He can literally use his speed to make himself have more mass, to punch apart satellites, to make a big explosion this huge, so he can hit hard, guys. See, here's the information on his satellite. It was apparently coming towards the Earth at close to speed of sound, and they called it, quote unquote, a catastrophic level event, extinction level event, apparently. It's a decent size, by the way. Man, I know they be drunk when it comes to these calculations in this show, but this is how they was kind of talking about it, hyping this satellite up.
She's falling fast.
Clifford must have increased its mass by 1,000-fold. Clifford must have increased its mass by 1,000-fold. Clifford must have increased its mass by 1,000-fold.
Barry, the impact of something that heavy and that fast.
Okay, how do we stop something that's going to send us back into the Stone Age? Okay, how do we stop something that's going to send us back into the Stone Age?
He's building up speed. He's going to use a sonic punch to destroy it.
One could say he can vibrate to make his strikes harder too. When it comes to Barry fighting other species, like this example, the evil species of Savitar, they can use their blast or lightning blast and clash with each other, like how he does here, for example, and they equally clashed to created a big explosion. Look how much collateral his lightning bolt does. Like, it's like a little mini huge shockwave. As you can see, that does all that. Yeah, his blast power is crazy. I want y'all to remember the energy that each lightning bolt puts out in this Flash series. You know the episode with the nuke I brought up a little bit earlier. They were talking about their lightning bolt. Each speedster has a lightning bolt that can produce 1 billion joules. So if they all throw a lightning bolt at the same time, it'll be 3 billion joules, like these 3 speedsters here in this particular situation. That's implying he has enough raw blast power to produce enough energy, the equivalent of messing up an entire city or a smaller city or something. This is like one of those occasions where Flash was dang near close to a bloodlusted. He was producing way more energy than he usually would be normally. Like, I'm talking about 3 billion joules of energy he was producing right here.
He's channeling over 2.86 billion joules of energy. That's a combined equivalent of almost 3 lightning bolts.
But I guess we could be a little bit more disrespectful here and say, bare minimum, he can at least blast with 3 megatons of energy. Or we can just split it by 3 and say 1 megaton, you know, by bare minimum. This means as a bare minimum, he'll be able to quake a city with his, not playing around fists going at a certain speed or not. The energy he can produce with his punches or blast power, right? He can hit hard enough or his lightning bolts produces up enough energy to be felt in multiple towns, one could say, easily. This being known as Despero, this is where we can start getting a somewhat understanding of how hard the Flash can hit or somewhat of his limits, because there was this being that was a 10-foot being that's a psionic being that's physically a beast too. He's a character that's similar to Grodd with mind stuff, but he punches like the avatar of strength. You know how there's a speed force, there's a strength force? They say he punches like a being that's the part of the strength force. Yes, the strength force is in comics, but like the main continuity comics, but it's also in the CW universe. So they're kind of implying Barry's got to be somewhere in the ballpark with the powerhouses of the CW Arrowverse. They did a test on Despero to see how he ranks when it comes to his physical strength and durability and things like that. Not even counting mind hack stuff is what the thing he specializes in, but he just like physical brute up there with some of the Kryptonians that we've seen in the Arrowverse. They even stated,
I ran a bioscan on Despero the minute he entered Star Lab. He has strength and invulnerability that rivals Kryptonians.
I know CW Flash doesn't have a good record because they imply in other seasons that he's not as strong as Kryptonians when it comes to being able to damage Kryptonians, but thanks to Despero appearing and them pretty much confirming he's up there with this universe versions of Kryptonians, that kind of automatically puts him in that same ballpark. Like, we know the Flash obviously can't lift weights the same as a Kryptonian. They're more than likely talking about how much his blast power is and his punches being ridiculously strong because of how fast he can punch. That's probably what they're talking about. I mean, that would be the only way for Flash to harm him anyway, with his actual speed punches. You know, you can kind of get an idea of how strong the Flash is. Despero has crazy super strength. Flash, with his lightning blast power, is able to counter his literal strength with the amount of blast power he can produce. I think this kind of proves he's up there with the Kryptonians of this universe, right? Because based on these occasions, he can kind of stagger him, but not do too much damage here. But in this particular occasion, you can literally see him just do a straight up speed enhanced punch to Despero here instead of flying that far. I want you guys to remember that Despero has a power source known as the Flame. He's going to use this flame to actually wipe out an entire city. So yeah, Flash has to be in the city wiping levels of power.
Looking like atomic bomb level readings.
That's Despero. He must be willing to wipe out the whole city to get what he wants.
This is the type of character Flash had to compete with. I think it's fair to say that Flash can at least punch with similar force or punch with the force of an atomic bomb to even be able to stagger or harm him to some degree. I mean, Despero himself even stated about how he's going to destroy the city, so proving he can destroy the city thanks to his connection or blast power thanks to the flame.
Now, Flash, your city dies.
This is just to give you an idea that Despero really was about to do some city-shattering type stuff with his blast power, aka Flame and Flash. Before he had time to spread it, he ran around it to counter such crazy energy, thanks to part of this being due to his new boots or tech, part of this being thanks to his speed being able to produce a vacuum to counter this flame, then defeats Despero. To get a bare minimum power or durability of a Kryptonian, we know they can at least withstand nuclear-type explosions. Like Supergirl in the earlier season stated something similar to this, meaning that lower level nukes she could withstand.
When the cauldron goes up, it'll explode with the force of a 400 megaton bomb. You can't stop me from killing myself. You can't stop me from killing myself.
This was an earlier season Supergirl, but they said 400 megaton would take her out. So what, maybe a 40 megaton blast she could withstand, or 50? Like anything less than 400 megaton, apparently they would be able to withstand, and they're implying that Flash can somewhat harm Kryptonian tiers. Kryptonians in this universe can withstand things that can level cities. You get the idea. Like, there's no exact math to this, but if there was like a grid, he has to be somewhere. Like, even if you don't want to say he's necessarily equal to Kryptonians, that's fine when it comes to punching power. I would definitely put him like right under them still, the weight of his hits would basically feel like a city or two landing on you, or just a straight up nuke, if we're being honest. At very least, his hits would feel like the equivalent energy needed to tremble or quake an entire city. Because don't forget that Kryptonians have also, this kind of proves this is not just a statement. When Supergirl was fighting another version of herself from another reality, another Kryptonian level being, there was like this astronomical explosion that Supergirl was literally right next to. You see how it looks compared to the curvature of the planet, and she was in the middle of all of that. It made a ginormous explosion. So I think the nuke statement made sense because it did knock her out, but she was literally knocked out for like 10 seconds. She wasn't nowhere near dead. Like, she landed, and Citizen Steel caught her. She's awake. She's not really that damaged. So yeah, that nuke stuff definitely makes sense. Flash being able to somewhat harm a Kryptonian has to be in that level of punching power. You know, this is a bare minimum. His hits should feel like a nuke, you know? Like, nobody's on the level of this guy, of course. I'm not trying to compare anybody to Anti-Monitor, but you know how Anti-Monitor was responsible for the destruction of infinite universes. And we've seen Kryptonians like Supergirl, Martian Manhunter, Superman of the CW universe, Punch, and Stagger, this same being. We never saw Flash do this, even though he was here, but he might be able to do the same when it comes to Stagger, such a being. Like, they didn't really do no damage to him, but this being literally, one could say, has literally infinite power. Yeah, don't ask. The Speed Force was kind of possessed and doing evil stuff and looking dark right here. Yeah, don't ask. Like, yeah, his literal power source, he literally shot a blast at living embodiment of his actual power source, the Speed Force, and apparently staggered the Speed Force itself. Like, this is a feat. This is not a measurable feat, but shoot, this has got to be impressive, right? This is another one of those feats that's hard to measure, but he was able to apparently counter something that was a Big Bang in reverse, a super Speed Force tornado. Like, that was the season they was literally fighting the cosmic forces of the universe. Like, this season was kind of crazy when it comes to the power level.
If this thing achieves enough atomic mass, it's gonna snap back like a rubber band.
Big Bang in reverse. It's like all four isotopic forces are returning to their original state when they were born.
But in reverse.
Or the forces snap back and destroy everything in existence. Destroy everything in existence. And destroy everything in existence.
Like, I gotta admit, in this occasion, he was amped up by the other forces of the universe, so I would say this is an amped feat and not a by himself feat. He was countering something that was like a literal Big Bang in reverse. But yeah, it has to be noted that he was amped by the forces of the universe, cosmic forces, so he could have been a multiversal or above entity right here at this particular instance. Like, you can see the Speed Force itself amping him up with the other forces, so he was able to counteract such an event. Basically, in this particular second, Barry probably could solo all your favorite characters. Like, he was kind of overpowered. So yeah, CW Flash has a Big Bang countering event or feat. Yeah, stuff gets wild. But CW Flash could possibly be a planet buster based on how fast he is, and if he can hit you with that level of speed. Like, imagine how hard his punches would feel if he punches you at 100,000 times the speed of light or something. Or that time in this video, earlier in this video, when I showed you he can move and stop time. Stuff like that. If he was able to achieve that kind of speed and punch you, what do you think that force would feel like? You know what I mean? This wonky storyline, he was like Reverse Flash. Yeah, don't ask. His speed was lower than normal. And he was technically able to produce enough kinetic energy to where he was ripping the planet itself apart, apparently, in this alternate reality. One could say if Flash just wanted to go insane, he could mess up the whole planet with raw speed, one could say.
How is he doing?
He's destroying the city. It's like the end of days out here.
It's not just the city. Alan's speed wake is causing the globe to tear itself apart. Extinction level event in progress.
I'm tracking at least 100 earthquakes.
A tsunami just hit Japan.
Yeah, it was during this crazy crossover event with Despero. Like, Despero even said it too, about him destroying the world. Shows that these speedsters could.
Bear witness to a coming Armageddon that you create. One that destroys your own planet. It already happened, Flash. That's why I, Despero, have to kill you.
There was implications in no time he could devastate the entire planet. Despero even said it out his own mouth. To be able to possibly devastate the planet. This is not like this is something out of the ordinary when it comes to comic book characters. So I definitely see this as a possibility. How fast do you think he is in general? How hard do you think he can hit? And his speed feats, with his top speed, his punches should technically be able to level certain planetoids or at least quake certain planetoids. That could be just me overanalyzing. I mean, we're talking about a Flash that's basically in his prime at the end of this season 9. I mean, he can literally give other beings speed or share his speed to other folk out there by making his own storm, apparently. If you're a comic reader, you might know these familiar names. Other speedsters that are not in the Allen family, though. He can just give them speed, apparently, at the end of the series finale. So he can kind of raise his daughter without always having to do superhero stuff, I guess. We even get to see the ultimate payoff we saw in season 1 when a mature Barry met his younger self trying to stop his mom from dying. Like, you remember season 1 when season 1 Barry tried to save his mom and an older him had to tell him to not do it? We actually get to see that. With all these feats I've shown you in this video, it just sucks that he's extremely inconsistent. We need to see him being more of a bad A more, and just we need to see him completely foderize beings that are not in his tier. or beings that can't react to his speed. I'm one of those rare people that actually believe power levels have a lot to do with storytelling, but I guess I'll be the only one to leave this earth on that hill. But I hope you guys enjoyed this presentation. It's like the writers try to create fake stakes when we know he's fast enough to speed blitz most of the villains other than speedsters, but that's none of my business. But before I get going, everybody, I gotta give a quick thanks to the donators. Respect CW Flash, regardless of how you think of them. I'm glad you are enjoying your time on the channel. Make sure you check out the playlist on the channel to see other How Strong videos. If you like what this channel is offering, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I will see you guys later.